I'm James Kotecki, and you're here with me in the C-Space studio at CES 2020. Joining us is Brad Dancer, Executive Vice President, Insights, Analytics, and Data Strategy, National Geographic Partners.
Yes.
Thank you very much for being here, Brad.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yes. First question, what is National Geographic Partners?
National Geographic Partners is a joint venture of the National Geographic Society, which is the not-for-profit arm of National Geographic, and the Walt Disney Company, formerly 21st Century Fox.
The media part.
The media part, yep.
And so what does the partnership do? What does it produce?
We produce a cable television channel across the globe, 440 million homes. We produce the magazine now and 25 million readers. The websites, educational materials for schools, travel company, books, kids department, pretty much everything.
So you're on the data, insights, and analytics side.
Correct.
So what does your data say about how people are consuming your content in 2020 and beyond?
Well, I mean, I think there's no surprise, especially on the TV side, which is a big part of our business, that everything's moving towards streaming and OTT, although maybe not as quickly as some would like to think. We have viewers on all platforms. We care about our viewers on Hulu, on TV Everywhere, on VOD, on the linear channel, on Disney Plus. We care about all of the viewers, even though it is changing rapidly. And obviously, we're also steeped in the traditional print magazine business, which is very healthy for us, but as is our digital business, and we're the #1 brand in social. So we're an interesting mix of old and new at National Geographic.
The #1 brand in social, period, or
on Instagram?
On Instagram.
129 million followers, I think, as of this morning.
Wow.
That puts us slightly above Taylor Swift.
Well, congratulations on that. Does the brand? I know what I think of when I think of the brand. I think of the famous yellow borders.
Sure.
I think of really amazing photography and in-depth writing about the planet. What do you feel like the brand stands for?
I mean, you nailed it.
Okay, great. I guess that's a good brand, right? If I can define it as a consumer.
We're here to educate and keep people that love the planet they live on. We're not just a media company. Obviously, that's what we're here. But our entire business model is to promote the exploration of the world. So because of the joint venture, 27% of our proceeds go to society to support missions. So yes, we're a cable channel, yes, we're a magazine, but we do it for a purpose which is ingrained in everybody who works there.
You mentioned the print magazine is very healthy. Yes. You know, print as an industry has not been considered the healthiest industry overall.
Sure.
What's your secret?
I think the secret is photography, and there's a certain level of nostalgia and expertise that we bring. I mean, our photography translated to Instagram, that's why we're so big there. And there's just something about, we were the internet before the internet existed. You don't need us for that anymore, but we still offer something that you can't get anywhere else. We take people places, and it's just a beautiful magazine.
Yeah, and I guess what's good about that content is that most of it does not expire, or at least expire very quickly.
Correct,
I could go 20, 30 years back, and some people, of course, keep all their National Geographic magazines. And
everybody keeps them.
Yeah, and they're just fun to go back and look at. We talked a lot about the brand, and of course, data can give you insights to go in new directions. So you have this, I believe it's over 130-year-old brand.
Right.
And then you're getting data. How do you balance those two things? Is there ever a time when the data says to do one thing, but the brand says to do another?
Sure. So two interesting examples. One, on the social and digital side, if you listen to just the data, we would probably only produce baby penguin pictures, because that's what people engage with, that's what they talk about, that's what they share. And we like those are important.
Sure.
But that's not what we're here. We're not here just to get engagement, we're here to make a difference. So we have to go beyond that and sometimes push. So we use those pictures to bring in other photos that really make an impact. The other side of it is, we would never have done Free Solo, won us an Oscar for the television network, because if you look at the data, mountain climbing movies don't work. They don't get high ratings, they don't do well in the box office, but we went against that because we knew we had something different, and it was on brand, and it was everything we stood for, and it was huge.
It came out in 2018?
Yes.
That was my favorite movie of 2018.
Thank you. It was
one of my
fantastic.
favorite movies. That was a great movie.
Very hard to watch.
I was in the theater, and this was the few times I'm in the theater yelling at the screen. It's like the people are falling or about to fall. I'm like, no, don't do it.
It's insane.
It just got me, and I have very little experience of any kind of climbing, so you're certainly able to engage with that. So that brings up a good point of how do you figure out what risks to take when you don't have the data?
You know, it's funny. That's all you do in TV. It's all risks, and you never have all the data. There's this weird thing that goes on. I say this being at the tech conference, that suddenly there's all this new data in television because of streaming platforms. television's been rich in data since Nielsen was around. I'm not saying, it was consumer level data, but it's a ton of information, and we go by that and we use that, but you can't rely on it, because the point of media is to get ahead of culture, not remain behind it. So if you keep only doing what people are telling you to do, you just go down that funnel where you're just doing pictures of baby penguins.
And so you are, I don't know if you call yourself this, but you're like the data guy in the equation, right? And so how do you work together?
I shouldn't be saying any of those things.
Well, no, but it's great that you are, but I think it's great that you are saying that, because it speaks to, I suppose, probably a partnership between you and the creative side. And so for others watching who are curious about how to get that kind of partnership working hand in hand, what are some best practices that you found?
Yeah, it's every day I work in a field of extroverts in an introverted department. And so I think the most important thing that I've learned over the years is speak like a producer. Speak like a content. They've been working on these things for years. Yeah. It's easy for us to come in with data and go, well, this didn't work, or this person didn't like it, or this demographic wasn't there. I'm sorry you just spent 5 years making that television show, but it didn't work. But if you can speak to them like a producer, it's a business, and things work and don't work. And speak at their level, not at a data level. We're storytellers too. I constantly remind them that. I just use data and information to tell my story. But I can't do it in an analytical, this is up 12%, that's up, that stuff doesn't work.
So does your data get into the difference between the kinds of nature footage that new kinds of technology enable you to do? There's drones, there's super high-powered zoom cameras. At CES we could walk the floor and probably find a dozen new kinds of cameras and technology that you could then integrate into your production process. Does your data speak to the level of what kinds of technology works when you're capturing all this content?
So I have a waffling answer for you a little bit there. The data will show you people like good footage. So that could be on an iPhone, that could be on a Phantom camera, that can be on a drone. And I think technology allows us to do footage that you've never seen before. And when it's done well and it's in the story, people will I don't care what you took that photo or that shot with. That was amazing. Some of the stuff we did in Free Solo was camera work that we'd never seen before. But if it's just a drone shot because you want to put an aerial in there and you feel like you have to use your drone, viewers are savvy. They've seen all this stuff before. They're like, this is boring. If it's interesting, so it's kind of the obvious answer. When it works, it works. When it doesn't, you just wasted the technology.
And getting back to Free Solo, because I'm kind of obsessed with it, the fun part of the movie for me, one of the fun parts was seeing, it was kind of like a behind the scenes of how they made it in the movie itself, where you see the camera crew on the mountain. That was pretty neat.
The guy who couldn't watch from the ground.
Exactly. It was really gripping. We're talking to Brad Dancer of National Geographic Partners. 5G is coming, 5G is here. How does 5G impact your business?
Probably should admit this as well, being at the tech conference, I know enough to be dangerous about 5G. What I think it does is just unlocks mobile for us. It's just makes everything not obsolete. We're already heavy mobile and digital and social. I think this just makes it that much more clean. It makes streaming that much easier. It turns streaming, as streaming becomes more complicated in terms of all the partners out there finding content, it makes it easier. The technology allows it easier access to it. We're excited about it. We like anything that allows us to find new people to tell our stories to.
One thing that seems like it would make a lot of sense for National Geographic content is VR and really kind of putting myself immersively in the jungle or on a mountain or wherever. Do you have data that speaks to whether that's actually engaging people?
So we've done a few things with VR with some Hollywood producers, with some of our own explorers. And I will say it still feels really nascent. It still feels like we're playing with the technology. We love new storytelling platforms, so I am super excited about the future of that. I think it has existed in some bad games and some testing footage of interesting shots. So what we've done is people are like, yeah, that was cool, but I don't need to watch more than 2 or 3 minutes of it. And it's hard for me to kind of understand it because there's a creative unlock that hasn't happened. When people go in and start really playing with VR and there's a whole new way to tell stories. And I still feel like that hasn't moved forward. Even though technology's gotten better and better, the storytelling hasn't gotten any better. I as you can see, I lean towards the creative side and everything because I'm like, yes, the technology allows us to do this, but we're not doing this very well yet. And the technology, I think, is caught up. Where are all the good storytellers?
What about the rise of voice technology, audio formats like podcasting? Where does that fit into a admittedly photography-heavy brand?
Sure. So we've launched a couple of podcasts to middling success, and we recently launched one, Overheard, to great success this past year. And it was difficult for us. People were like, well, we are a visual medium, but we're a storytelling medium. So this is stories, overheard stories at National Geographic, and the sort of stories behind some of our photos and things. It's been hugely successful.
So it's still actually based in a photograph. And so if I'm listening to the conversation, I could go look at the photograph and then hear the story behind it.
Or an article or whatever it might be. So it's we tied to our brand like that. It works. We're all over it. We love those kind of things. We've done things with Google Audio before, more marketing things tied to our shows. It's an area we're not as expertise in, but we're still playing with it. But we have such wonderful sound captures too, so we're excited about it.
So you've been at National Geographic Partners for 20 years.
Yeah.
Is there an insight or a piece of technology that you just really want to have, but you just still don't have it yet?
There's more. There's more a process. So because we're so big in social, it's impossible for us to keep up. And natural language processing, which again is a little bit more a data nerd thing, is terrible. It's still terrible. It's not. We don't get good summaries. We don't get insights. It takes forever to really do anything.
So you're able to automatically read a million tweets about what you're doing and then summarize what that is.
Summarize what it is, or I get a generic sentiment which doesn't tell me anything. And I know there's a lot more in there. And we know there is. We've seen it. But I can't do it efficiently or effectively or quickly. So I can analyze it after the fact. Interesting. I want to analyze it in the moment and react in the moment. Get some AI running. So that's one thing that I know exists more out there than we have. Mm-hmm. I would love to have that.
So last question as we close out. Please fill in the blank. 2020 is going to be the year of.
2020 is going to be the year of storytelling. I got to keep it on brand.
I love it. That's extremely on brand.
Yeah.
Brad Dancer, National Geographic Partners. Thank you so much for integrating the worlds of storytelling and data with us today at the C-Space Studio.
All right. Thank you.
Really appreciate it. I'm James Kotecki. I really appreciate you watching. I'm the host of the C-Space Studio here at CES 2020. This concludes day 2 of our conversations, but keep it right here because we have a whole nother day coming your way.